Hey folks, Pro Libertate, thank you again for watching. I'm just going to keep with the theme of the previous videos here, and there's a third story I have. This comes from Aurora, Colorado, and this involved a shooting. This was from last year, where the brave agents of the state in government-issued costumes showed up, found a homeowner who happened to be armed, and execute said homeowner. Apparently his house was being broken into. He called the police, or somebody in the house called the police, and when the police arrived, the homeowner was still armed, and so he gets executed. That's how the story goes. But the follow-up to that story is here, and that is that the cop who murdered the man faces no charges. No criminal charges to face. A very typical story. So this comes from the Denver Post. An Aurora police officer who shot and killed a 73-year-old homeowner defending his home against a violent intruder will face no criminal charges, in what the Adams County District Attorney's Office described as a harrowing tragedy. In its review, the District Attorney's Office said body camera footage from the Drew Limbaugh, the officer who fired the fatal shots, was the critical piece of evidence that showed Limbaugh made the best possible decision amid the chaos happening inside the home of Richard Gary Black, according to a letter written by the District Attorney Dave Young to the Aurora Police Chief Nick Metz. This was the best possible choice? Best possible decision? You go into a homeowner's house, and the call is about dealing with an intruder, and you're just going to shoot when you see somebody who's armed. There is no evidence to contradict Officer Limbaugh's reasonable belief that Mr. Black presented a threat to the officers. See, officer safety is the number one priority. It's not about serving and protecting. Okay? It's about officer safety. The officer was scared. He knew he was going into a situation where there was a potential home intruder, and so as soon as he sees an armed person, he just shoots the guy. There is no evidence to contradict Officer Limbaugh's reasonable belief that Mr. Black presented a threat to the officers, because he did not drop the weapon and could shoot at any moment, Young's letter said. However, lawyers representing Black's family took a different view, saying the body camera footage shows Black never raised his handgun and never pointed it at police. Okay. Just the fact that a mundane has a gun, whether it's on their hip, on their side, or in their hand, that's a threat to officer safety. And when the brave agents of the state show up, they got their government-issued costumes on, it's your duty to grovel and just take a supine position on the floor. That's all you can do when a guy shows up in a government-issued costume. You better get your face on the floor. You're not a free man to be armed in your own home. The district attorney's report selectively emphasizes certain facts in order to justify its conclusion. The statement by Rathad Mahathir firm said, but the report minimizes what is clear from the body camera footage. The officers who responded to the Black residents never identified themselves as law enforcement to Mr. Black prior to shooting him dead. So again, this is just like my previous two videos. Cops show up at somebody's house. They never announce themselves. The homeowner reasonably is kind of freaked out that somebody's outside their house waving a flashlight around, And so then the cop gets spooked and shoots the person through a window. Now, in this story, the cops are actually in the house. Apparently, they never announced their presence because they wanted to sneak up on an intruder, I guess, right? Officer safety. The body camera footage was released Monday night. Black family had asked that it be made public. Okay, so we'll pull up the footage here. In consult with the Black family, we are sharing a mutually agreeable portion of the involved officer's body-worn camera in this chaotic incident, Chief Nick Metz said Monday night. This was a heartbreaking and tragic incident. Our thoughts and prayers remain with Mr. Black's family and those involved. Black's death was surrounded in controversy for multiple reasons. First, Black was a decorated Vietnam veteran with concealed weapons permit who had legally defended his home against an intruder. And he's legally carrying a gun. He's got a CWP. He's done everything right. He's in his own home. A man's home is his castle, right? The case calls for law enforcement to debate how police respond to encounters with armed citizens. Right? And Young urged police to discuss the issue in community forums and during training sessions for officers. This is the thing with police training. Police are trained to see themselves in a 360-degree battlefield. Citizens are the enemy. An armed citizen is doubly the enemy. You're just a mere mundane. You have no business having a gun. You see this time and time again. The states where they supposedly have open carry law. Well, and when a citizen starts walking around with a gun on their hip, open carrying, they get hassled like crazy. Because they're a mere mundane. The only people who can walk around with guns on their hips are people in government-issued costumes. That's the message time and time again. Second, Limbaugh, the officer who shot Black, had returned to duty 2 weeks earlier after killing a man on June 27th in an officer-involved shooting. Okay, so he killed somebody before again, just like the other story I talked about from Greenville. So this guy's killed multiple people now. Still on the force. Some question whether Limbaugh returned to duty too soon, but Metz defended his department's decision to send the officer back on patrol. Limbaugh was cleared in the June 27th shooting by the Arapahoe County District Attorney. He is working at the police department, but is on non-enforcement assignment, said Sergeant Bill Hummel, an Aurora police spokesman. An internal investigation into Black's shooting death will begin Tuesday. Well, it sounds like they're already not going to charge the officers. What's the point of the investigation at this point? I mean, the guy's he's back on duty. I mean, he's not out on patrol, but he's getting a check still. He's still at the office. He still works for the department, and he's getting paid. Black was killed in the early morning hours of July 30th after an intruder who had been at a house party across the street busted through Black's front door and attacked Black's 11-year-old grandson. The intruder, later identified as 26-year-old Dejan Harper, took the boy into a bathroom where Black and his son, Chad Hayashi, fought with him to free and save the boy. Black shot and killed Harper in the bathroom just as police arrived. Black, still armed and carrying a flashlight, emerged from a hallway and was shot by Limbaugh. The night of the incident, officers arrived to a chaotic scene, finding the front door of the home broken and several people inside and outside the residence. Shots rang out as officers were approaching the front door. Limbaugh told investigators he was looking through the front door opening just after hearing shots when he saw a man wearing a robe emerging from the hallway. Yeah, sounds like the intruder. Guy in a robe. Sounds like that looks like that fits the description of an intruder, right? Guy in a bathrobe. Or does that sound more like the homeowner? Common sense would indicate a guy in a bathrobe when you're coming to a home invasion call. It's going to be the homeowner. Emerging from the back hallway, Officer Limbaugh recalled yelling, "Drop the gun! Show me your hands!" multiple times, according to the review. The man inside the home did not respond. Limbaugh told investigators. Black kept coming toward, because he doesn't know that this is a cop. That's what the family said. Their presence was never announced again. Same thing with the previous 2 videos I put up. The police don't announce their presence. They just show up waving guns around. Black kept coming to the front door, but Limbaugh at the time didn't know who Black was or what had just happened inside the home. Limbaugh's body camera reveals a period of 10 seconds between the time he shouted, "Gun!" to the time he fires his weapon. The review said, officers gave multiple commands for Black to drop the gun during that 10 seconds. Believing that the threat was imminent, Officer Limbaugh fired his weapon at the man. Black had significant hearing loss. That may be a reason he didn't respond. Black was shot 3 times. And anyway, you get the idea. Black's family, through their attorney, said Monday that they are extremely disappointed that criminal charges will not be pursued. Well, they don't understand that this was a brave agent of the state, and they're allowed to kill mundanes if they feel scared. That's how this works. If you're a mundane and you show just the modicum of disrespect, or if you're armed, you can just be executed. Okay. Let me see about this video here. 5 minutes. Let's see what we got here.
Is this the guy? Not me. Who are you? It's in there, Joe! Oh, shit. Not me. Who's the 13? We got shots fired. Get on the ground. Oh! Get on the ground! What do you got? What do you got?
Nothing. Gun! Gun! Drop the gun!
Let me see your hands!
Drop the gun! Hey! Get your hands in the air! The guy in the robe's got the gun.
Got it? You got it?
Yes! Drop the gun!
Drop the gun! Is he down? Is he down?
He's down!
3 times now.
Okay,
He's down!
Move forward a little bit.
Just horrific. Absolutely horrific. The homeowner, he didn't have any idea what the heck was going on. All of a sudden he just hears people shouting at him, drop the gun. If he could even hear, apparently he had hearing loss. And then he's shot for being armed in his home and defending his home from an intruder. Absolutely despicable. Absolutely despicable. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're in a war for freedom. We're in a war for freedom. And, you know, this is just terrible stuff. There's a 2-tiered law system. If I did this to my neighbor, you better believe that there'd be charges. You better believe that there'd be charges. I wouldn't get to go back to work. I wouldn't get to... I mean, this guy killed somebody, just a couple months before this incident. No reason for this. No reason for this at all. I mean, you could clearly see his bathrobe. He never pointed the gun at the cops. You can see it in the video. I mean, back it up a little. Right here.
Drop the gun!
Let me see your hands!
Drop the gun!
So you can see the gun. It's pointed down at the floor. This old guy, he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know who the heck these people are outside the door. Maybe it's the intruder's buddies. Real tragic. And the most despicable part about it, no charges. No charges. No criminal charges will be brought. The guy still has his job. He's killed 2 people. I don't know about the other person he killed. But, absolutely despicable. Like, share, subscribe. Take care.